Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Monday, November the 2nd. The year's 2020. Let's talk trading. The reality of trading, this time with Walmal. Cold Hard Truths, Part 5. How you doing, Walmal?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a good trading day for me. In fact, I was able to quit trading pretty early today. I made my core plus 10, so it was a good day, and I'm glad for that because lots of stuff going on in my life that I need to go and attend to. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I just want to go and make one little statement here. Is I've gotten a lot of messages from folks, private messages and direct messages from folks, just basically saying congratulations on my new granddaughter, and I just wanted to thank those people publicly.
Oh, great. And I just want to let everybody know who's watching that these videos for educational purposes only, and your results may differ from mine and from Walmal's. So, cold hard truths. What's some of the cold hard truths that you've come to learn over your years of trading?
Cold hard truth number one: go and make a trading plan. Okay, we talk about it all the time, but the reality is most people do not have a trading plan, and a trading plan isn't just writing 2 or 3 things down on a piece of paper. The trading plan is going and writing down everything that needs to be done in terms of your trading. What are your goals? What are you trying to get out of your trading? How are you going to achieve it? What's your capital? Where's your capital going to come from? How are you going to preserve your capital? What's your methodology? How are you going to go and take trades? How are you going to get out of trades? That's number one cold hard truth, because to be honest with you, until I went and did that, when I was just sitting there playing with demo accounts or playing with small accounts, I'm blowing those things up until I actually had a plan of action. The reality is the market is a war zone, okay? And you wouldn't go to war without having some type of plan about how you were going to not just get into the war, but how are you going to get out of the war? How are you going to come out, unscathed and hopefully victorious? Well, that's what you need. You need some type of plan. And it's kind of funny, ironic, whatever, but, if you notice in that whole list of things that I listed, methodology was the last, or pretty close to the last thing that I listed, because the reality is that the method is not nearly as important. That's a cold, hard truth. The method is not nearly as important as everything else that's on the table. How are you going to control your emotions? How are you going to go and control your trades? How are you going to go and do all these different things that you need to go and take place? Because, I know, TRO, I know you say this all the time. Once you pull the trigger, you're in the trade. Every reason that you got into the trade doesn't matter anymore. You're done. You're in it. Okay? Manage the trade. That's much more important. Yes, you need a method that statistically on paper is going to go and make sense. But the thing is, there are so many other things that are just as important. And unfortunately, I think many, many traders, including myself for a long period of time, don't go and elevate them to the level that they need to be elevated to.
When you say elevate, what do you mean?
What I mean by elevate is, in other words, lift it up to the point of importance that they need to be. You say all the time, what are you going to do when you get into profit? What are you going to do? Are you going to get into trade? Rather not get into trade, but are you going to stay in a trade? Are you going to take your profits off the table? What is your plan? What's your exit plan? Do you raise that up to a level so that when you're in the trade, you know exactly what you're going to do based on what the market does? It's sort of like, when you go and play baseball, or any sport for that matter, when when the ball gets, if the ball gets hit to you, what are you going to do? Are you thinking about what you're going to do, or are you doing what you're supposed to do because you have a plan already in place? And because you have that plan in place, you're able to react and actually follow through. Or are you making your plan up on the fly? And that's what gets you into trouble, because by the time you figure out what you're going to do, it may already be too late, because the markets, sometimes they move awfully quick.
I think we've experienced that a few times that past month, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, with all the stuff going on here, especially in the U.S. and for that matter around the world, with a lot of the the social unrest and financial unrest that's going on in the world, because of virus and everything else that's going on, sometimes the markets will just go and do just crazy, crazy stuff. and for no apparent reason. You can understand something, and the market will go and jump up 30, 40, 50 pips within a couple of minutes when there's some type of big, huge news release. But, I know that in the last couple of weeks, at least 3 times in 3 weeks, I've seen the market jump 20, 25 pips. And when you look on the economic calendars, there was nobody speaking. There was no news that came out. It just happened. Now, what are you doing to protect yourself in that situation? How are you protecting your capital? How are you making sure that tomorrow you can come back and play? Because the reality is that may take you out of that trade. And that's all it should do is take you out of the trade. It shouldn't take you out of the game.
But even though with our stop losses in place, I mean, we were lucky that the price moved with us, or we were out of the market, so we got to get the reaction rather than the action part of it.
Exactly, and that's the thing. There was one trade about a couple of weeks ago where what happened was that the market moved like 20, 30 pips, and it took me out of the market because that was part of my trading plan. Take me out of the market if it does something crazy, stupid like that. Get me out. And you know what happened? The nice thing about it was, in fact, I think I told the folks about this on a video at one point in time, but I was able to get the reaction afterwards. And so, I was down 20-something pips, but because of the way the market moved, my trading plan and my methodology allowed me to get in and catch the reaction of it, and I actually wound up on the other end of it and actually being up 15 pips, which included my 20-pip loss. So, that's the thing. What are you going to do? The market gods are not going to always smile on you. And what are you going to do to protect yourself, protect your capital, and take advantage? You just can't just sit there and say, well, I got beat, and be Eeyore, and not react to it, okay? If I've got a plan in place that takes me out of the market, saves me, protects me, allows me to preserve my capital, that means I can continue playing. Now, my plan for continue playing may be, okay, you know what? This is just too dicey for me. I'm just not going to do it. And TRO, you've seen me do it a couple times. I just don't like this. I'm just not going to play right now. I'm protecting my capital right now. And other times I'll say, you know what? I know what it just did. I also have a good idea what the market's going to do in reaction to this. You know what? I'm willing to play with this. And I'm willing to get on that field again and take another trade. And because I have enough capital, because it's within my trading plan, I know I'm going to not be stupid and not put a stop loss in. I'm willing to take another risk, and so I'll go and do it. And so that's what you need to do. That needs to be part of your trading plan. And that's the whole thing. Getting back to this whole idea of cold, hard truth, the biggest cold, hard truth is making sure you can continue to play, making sure you can continue to trade. Because the reality is once you can't trade anymore, you can't trade anymore. You're done. You don't have any capital to trade with. So that's got to be your biggest cold hard truth. What am I doing to preserve that capital to make sure I can continue playing?
Right. Now, one of the things I'm sure everybody's curious about is you've been trading for years, and when you probably started, you probably had or was taught something that you've now discovered that it's not necessarily true. Is there something like that for you?
Yeah, for me, and this may work for people who trade differently from me, so I don't want to smear anybody or beseech anybody, but one of the biggest things is you're always taught in the very beginning, okay, you want to go and have your stop loss at X, and you always want you take profit at 2 times or 3 times X. That way when you win, you're winning 2 to 3 times what you risked and put on the table. Well, that may work with certain types of trading, and I'm sure it does, because I've seen very successful traders do that and do very well. But with the type of trading I do, what fits my personality, it doesn't work. With my type of trading, it's sort of like go in, grab what I can get and get out. And get out before the market gets back for me. So I don't go and I don't play around with that. My TP has got to be 2 or 3 times my stop loss. It's the type of thing where I'm in the market and the market smiles on me and I'm up, 2, 3 pips, and I see signs that now part of this is just from years of experience, and part of it is just just seeing the markets stall or whatever. And it's like, you know what? I'm taking my 3 pips. I'm going to be happy. I have a goal of getting 10 pips a day, so I want to get those 3 pips. If I get those 3 pips, I'm 1/3 of the way done for the day. I'd rather get that 1/3 right now as opposed to seeing that 3 pips turn around on me, and now I'm sitting there with a 5, 10, 15 pip loss. And so for that reason, I don't go and play the game of, I'm going to let it ride until I get my TP or I get my stop loss hit. I know a lot of folks do that, and I know that you can be profitable doing it, but I can't. When I tried doing that, I couldn't be profitable. That's me, and maybe you have a different take on that, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, I just put up the pound dollar screen and a 1 hour chart showing the Walmal lines, and the sweet spots. And if you look at the past 4, maybe 5 hours, if you took the trade as presented, each one of those hours would have paid you 10 pips or more.
Right, exactly. And then my stop loss on them is 10 pips. So my hard stop loss is 10 pips on those trades. So the nice thing about that is that I've only got a 1-to-1, but you think about it, you look back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, you go back 5 hours, okay, every one of those trades would have paid off. Which means that I can have a higher risk, okay, because, I'm not setting my stop loss at 5 pips, because on some of those trades, if I would have set my stop loss at 5 pips, it would have taken me out, and I wouldn't have gotten that 10 pip win. Okay. That's part of trading, but personally, it doesn't work well for me. It doesn't work with my psychology. It doesn't work with my head game. And I've said this many times on these videos that, part of your trading plan also has to be your psychology. You got to know yourself, and you need to build that into your trading plan. Now, I'm not saying that you go into a deep psychological analysis of yourself, but you need to know what your strong points are, what your weak points are. I like to win. That's who I am. Now, I know we all like to win, but I don't mind winning by taking, using a baseball analogy again, I don't mind winning by getting a bunch of singles. I don't need to have a home run every time. It's nice when you get the home run, but I don't need to go and get home runs every time. So I don't need to be swinging for the fences all the time. I'm willing to go and take 2, 3, 4 pips. And, especially if I see, okay, I'm up 3, 4 pips. I see the market starting to turn around. It's going to retest that, let's say I was going long. It's going to retest that low from before. I'd take my 2, 3 pips. If it goes and retests and gets down there, maybe I can get into that trade the second time. And start looking at things like from that perspective, do single after single after single. That works for me. Other folks, that could be combat fatigue for them, because it seems like you're always getting into trades, and personally, I think in the beginning you don't want to be getting into a bunch of trades until you get used to it. But for me, it works out well. For instance, I did my trading this morning, and I was in 3 trades, all within about 20, 25 minutes, and I made about 22 pips on that. And that's just who I was and what I was able to go and do. Other folks, on the other hand, they would say, you're going long, you're going short, you're going low. Make up your mind. What are you doing here? But no, because I'm trading what I see, and I'm jumping in where it makes sense to jump in because of my methods, and I'm not violating those methods. I'm able to go and pull some profit. Now, there was one trade in that middle of that mess that I jumped out, with just 1.9 pips. Why? Because it just looked like that thing was going to turn around on me, and I was going to wind up taking a loss if I didn't get out right then and there. And lo and behold, I was right on that particular case. I also could have been wrong. It could have continued going in my favor, and it could have gone up 10 or 15 pips. But that's a risk that you take with trading.
Yeah, I was thinking that, there seems like from some of the questions I get, especially from the new people, that they're so afraid that that if they put the trade on, they're going to lose, and I guess they assign something to it. But you know what? The fastest 15 minutes of trading is up, so we'll have to come back and continue this discussion. I think we'll probably have another week's worth. So,
we didn't get anywhere through this.
Yeah. So, fellow traders, I hope you gleaned something from Walmal there. And just remember, when you're at your trading platform, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. And this is TheRumpledOne, over and out.